let us open our hearts and minds to the message of love and compassion that Jesus teaches us. In a world often measured by material wealth, let us remember the divine value of kindness and selfless acts, regardless of our earthly possessions. Today, we reflect on the power of secret charity and the unseen battles against evil that each of us can fight with faith and humility. Today's message comes from the book Jesus in the Home by Neio, Lucio, psychographed by the medium Francisco Xavier. Chapter 20, Secret Charity. The conversation at Peter's house on this particular night was about practicing the good, and everyone was taking part. How can you show compassion if you don't have any money? How can you encourage benevolence if you have no financial resources? Great names of material wealth were cited with regard to these questions, and the majority of those present were inclined to believe that only the powerful on earth were capable of stimulating acts of mercy when the master interrupted, kind-heartedly offering his opinion. A man who was truly devoted to the law was exhorted by heavenly resolutions to perform acts of beneficence. However, he lived in extreme poverty, and there was no way whatsoever for him to deduct even the smallest amount from his pay to help others. So, whenever possible, he gave of himself with kind words and personal gestures of comfort and encouragement to all those who were going through pain and hardship. But it saddened his heart that he was unable to provide coats and bread to the ragged and starving people alongside the road where he lived. Surrounded by small children, he was a slave in the home that was watered with his sweat. Even so, he realized that if he could not do any public charity, he could at least wage war against evil in all the circumstances of his earthly journey. This was how he began to pay continual attention to extinguishing all of the inferior thoughts that were suggested to him. Whenever he came in contact with people who liked to speak ill of others, he would politely leave. And when responding to any sort of direct inquiry about someone, he would remember this or that small virtue of the absent victim. If someone was easily angered in his presence, he would consider the anger an illness that needed treatment, and he would quietly withdraw. Insults from others beat down on his spirit like stones on a honey barrel, because, besides not striking back, he treated the offender with his usual fraternity. Slander found no access to his soul, such that any kind of obscene accusation was lost without effect in his great silence. Whenever he saw threats against someone's peace of mind, he tried humbly to undo the clouds of misunderstanding before they gathered into a storm. If some type of condemning statement was racing around his neighbor, he would spontaneously do everything he could to defend the person tactfully and inauspiciously. His zeal against the incursion in the spread of evil was so highly detailed that he would even remove debris and stones from public roads so that they would not pose a danger to pedestrians. Having adopted these guidelines, he reached the end of his human journey, unable to attend to the world's suggestions for beneficence. He had never been able to offer a bowl of soup or a woolen coat to his neighbors in need. This was his situation when death brought him before the divine tribunal, where the humble servant appeared apprehensive and despondent. He was dreading the judgment of the heavenly authorities, when suddenly he was crowned with a brilliant diadem. When he tearfully asked the reason for this unexpected reward, he was told that the sublime recompense was due to his triumphant position in the war against evil, in which he had made himself an invaluable worker. The Master looked at his disciples with a piercing, calm gaze and concluded in a friendly tone. We can hand out bread and blankets. We can light the lamp for ignorance, and we can straighten fraternity by whipping out discord. But let us not ignore the daily, methodical, and serene battle against evil, convinced that in this holy struggle we will win the divine crown of secret charity. As we reflect on today's message, let us carry with us the lesson of the humble servant who, despite his poverty, waged a victorious war against evil through kindness, patience, and unwavering faith. Let us commit to these quiet acts of goodness, trusting that our Heavenly Father sees and rewards the purity of our hearts. Go forth with peace and confidence, and may God's love guide us in our actions, today and always. So be it.